Alright, so this is the fun part of the lab. You can actually see your Verilog code on the board, and we'll walk you through some steps wherein you can program your board, you can assign different pins to your board and things like that. So for simplicity purposes, I have changed my design to just an AND gate. So I'll basically have two input switches and one output LED to see if it's working or not. So you can replace it with any device you want, you can replace it with any module you want, as long as your board has enough switches or you're creative about them, you should be fine. Alright, so in your case you should have lab 1 here instead of this module, but I have a module set up for synthesis. It is basically an AND gate. So the way we proceed is by starting with analysis and synthesis of your design. So for that, let's go to processing, and here you can hit start, and once it goes there you can hit start analysis and synthesis. You can also hit Control K, or you can hit the run button or anything like that. So once you do that, if you look at this thing, it will basically go through your design and see if it works. It will see if you have any errors or things like that. This is the standard procedure that you did before your uh, simulation. It's the same thing, and it will do the same thing again. But the interesting part starts after this. You look at the board of your design and you start designing things in such a way where you assign pins and gates and things like that. So yeah, let us see. We pass with 0 errors and 1 warning. That should be fine. So once this part is done, you want to assign pins to your design. So for that, let's go to assignments, and in here you can see something called pin planner. So you want to click there and it will open the board you have selected, and in our case it is max 10, uh, whatever this board is. So this is the board we have selected. So internally your board has these many number of gates, and to understand what these pins exactly are, you can go to the DE10 Lite user manual that's also in your files section, and in that you should have different locations of your pins at different places in the manual. For example, in page 27 you can see what each LED light on your design corresponds to in terms of pins, and if you look further up in page 26, you can find what pin is assigned to the slide switches that are present in here. So let us assign two switches to our inputs A and B, two slide switches, and the slide switches basically run from C10, C11, C12, and D12, A12, B12, A13, A14, B14, and F15. So these are the internal FPGA pin numbers that are corresponding to slide switches of 0 through 9, and the IO standard for slide switches is 3.3 volts LVTTL. So for to assign things, let's click on location. If you double click there, you can basically get a drop down menu, and if you scroll through, I want my switch 0 to be A, and that corresponds to C10. So if I scroll further down, if I go to C10, so pin C10 is my switch 0, so I'll just hit that, and I'll change my IO standard to 3.3 volts LVTTL, right? And then I want my switch 1 to be input B, and I'll do the same thing here, go further down and go to C11. That's my switch. I'll change this to 3.3 volts LVTTL. To change things, you can just double press them and you should be fine. And I want my output to be LED 0, and LED 0 starts from A8. So it's A8, A9, A10, B10, D13, C13, E14, D14, A11, B11. There is no specific pattern for this, so it's better to have the user manual with you so that you can follow them. But it should be fine in most of the cases. So LED 0 is basically pin A8, So I'll assign that here. So let's go down, and if I see A8, that should be good, and its IO standard is 3.3 LVTTL as well. So I'll go down here, select 3.3 LVTTL, and once you do this, if you just select these should by default be selected in your design. So I'll just close this, and they should basically be selected. But if you want to check if they are in the design or not, the way to do it is to go to the folder that you have created this file in, like go to the actual location, and you should basically find one particular a file there that corresponds to our design. So let me show you the exact file here. So if I go to my folder, so I'm working in this folder, so there is this file called QSF. That's my synthesis file. So if I just open that file, I should basically find my pin names down here. So if you see here, C10 is assigned to A in LVTTL, C11 to B in LVTTL, and A8 to C in LVTTL. So if you find these here, you should basically be good. You can set, or you can see what are different design assignments and all here. So once you have that, you can proceed to the next step. So you are basically now ready to synthesize the design and put it onto the board. So once you have this, like once you have all these pins assigned, you can close the pin planner window and it will basically assign things. And if you look at the lab manual, the next part deals with creating a timing model, but I don't think timing is necessary as of now for this particular lab. If you want to, you can follow those steps, but they really don't give you anything in this case. So I would skip point number 6 in section 5 and proceed to section 6. So this is the part where you actually dump things into the board and make sure things work and things like that. So once you have this pin assignments done, you want to basically compile your design and then proceed. So there are 3 methods to compile. One of it is just pressing compile design right here in the task window, or you can go to processing menu and choose start compilation, or just hit Ctrl L. You can also hit this particular button here that basically starts compilation. So let's just do it in the tasks window. So I just hit double hit compile design, and that should basically start compiling the design for me. And once that is done, I should basically be ready to put things into my board now. So the way this is going to work is I will go through all the process of what you do on screen, and then I'll show you on board how things look like and how your submission should be. So once you run compile, it should give you this particular error that says there is no synthesis.sdc because you did not put in any timing constraints. That should be fine, except that rest of the thing should not be something you should be worried about. Most of the times it should be pretty fair warnings about processes on your design on your computer or something like that. But most of the times it should run without any errors, so you should be good. And you don't have any clocks in this design, so that should be fine. So now that you see that our compilation is successful without any errors, you should basically be fine. Let's just check. Number of process should be a good thing. EDF functional simulation netlist, because it should be fine. No clocks is fine. No clocks is fine. We don't have an SDC file, so 2 pins meet Intel information, so it should be good, and they become repetitive after some time. So once this part is done, you want to basically verify your design on your board, and there is one particular file that you actually want to dump onto your board. And to see that, you can actually go to the same location that you checked your QSF file at. So if you look at the same location, let me try to refresh this. go into your output files, you should basically find a file called SOF file. So this file here, that is basically the file that you'll be dumping onto your board. That is your file that has all the things you have written in Verilog in terms of the things your board understands. That's the bit stream that you want to dump in there. So that's called an SRAM object file, if you are curious about what SOF means. So yeah, once you have this file, you would want to connect your board to your PC through USB, of course. And once you do that, you would want to go to Tools and then go to Programmer. So let's just see. So if you hit Programmer, you should basically be able to see your device in most cases. So in my case, I have it already set up, but if you don't, then hit on Hardware Setup. You should see something called Hardware Blaster here, and currently selected hardware, make sure it is USB Blaster USB 0, and once you have that, you need not hit anything. It should basically be present because of your installation, and once that is there, you can just close your thing. And make sure your mode is in JTAG, and you have auto detect clicked. So if you hit auto detect, it should basically detect the design that you have connected or the file that you have connected. And once you have that, you can select this device, that is your Intel board that you have connected, and then click on add file to program the FPGA. So once you hit add file, go to output files, just hit SOF, you should be good. It was added by default, so let me just remove it. So this is the output file that was there by default. It should be present in most of the cases. So once that is done, you can just hit start here, and you should basically be good. So select this, hit start, and it should run the whole thing for you. So it says successful, so my device should basically have all the values I want. So if I select whatever the gates are, I should be good. So I'll jump to the actual footage of my device, and then we'll see from there. So this is what my board looked like after I programmed that part. So these switches here, right? So this is where your switches 0 through 9 run from, and the LEDs are these ones. So the way I have programmed it is this switch is A, the next one is B, and this LED here is my output C. So I want to basically say, if I switch both of these on, they should be on. If I switch any of them off, it should be off. So let's see. I'll switch this on. It's off. That's how it should work. And if I switch on, that works. And if I switch this off, it should be off and off. So that's basically what I wanted, and that's how it is. So these are the pins you have assigned your program to, and that's what you want.